Vice President Vance firing back at people protesting the federal takeover of D.C.'s police department. Take a listen.
This is the guy who thinks people don't deserve law and order in their own community.
Pete Hegseth and Stephen Miller were also on hand. They were there to thank National Guardsmen who've been protecting Union Station. Here's what the vice president told Laura Ingraham.
I had heard from a couple of friends who used to avoid Union Station because there were vagrants and there were crazy people screaming at kids that they avoided Union Station. But over the past 9 days, since the president did this emergency order, it looks a lot better. It feels a lot safer. So I was talking with Stephen Miller and with Pete Hegseth about this in the Oval Office yesterday. And I was like, we should just go over there and say hello to people. And you've got a lot of National Guardsmen over there, some D.C. cops who have been heckled by some of the protesters. So I thought, what a good show of moral support to have the vice president and some of the senior team at the White House show up. We bought him some burgers, hang out with him a little bit.
And President Trump writing on Truth Social, quote, "Just like our southern border is now 100% secure, Washington, D.C. is safe again, and we have just begun the process of revival." Lucas Tomlinson live in D.C. this morning with more on this. Hi, Lucas.
Good morning, Bill. A show of force by the Trump administration at Union Station in the nation's capital. The Vice President, Defense Secretary, and Deputy Chief of Staff showing their support to National Guard soldiers and the police and drawing the ire of protesters. Let's hear more from that video.
This is the guy who thinks people don't deserve law and order in their own community. I know that we've traded now some violent, crazy people who are screaming at kids with a few crazy liberals who are screaming at the vice president, but I think that's a very worthwhile trade to make because we want our people to be able to enjoy our beautiful cities.
Now, for context, Bill, last year the murder rate in Washington, D.C. was nearly 4 times higher than in your home in Los Angeles and nearly 6 times more than where you are right now in New York. D.C. police claims violent crime is down 27% this year. The Justice Department would like a word and is now investigating those numbers. Now, since this new show of force in D.C. with the National Guard and feds patrolling the streets, violent crime is down 30% and robbery down nearly 50%. Attorney General Pam Bondi providing an operational update this morning on X, posting, "We've now made a total of 630 arrests and seized 86 illegal guns in D.C. 53 arrests were made yesterday, plus 24 ICE arrests and 10 guns taken off the streets." Here's Stephen Miller.
We're going to dismantle those networks, and we're going to prove that a city can serve for the law-abiding citizens who live there. We are not going to let the communists destroy a great American city, let alone the nation's capital.
Miller also referred to those protesters as, quote, elderly white hippies, Bill.
Heard that one. All right, Lucas Tomlinson live in D.C. for us this morning. Lucas, thanks.
And Will Cain joins us now. Great to have you. Love seeing you at 4 o'clock, right before the 5. But right now I want to ask you about this because D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, she was asked about that visit to Union Station. Watch here.
Do you think placing the troops at major transit hubs or monuments is the most strategic deployment instead of, say, high crime areas?
I don't think the National Guard should be used for law enforcement. And I think calling men and women from their homes and their jobs and their families, they have to be used on their, on mission-specific items that benefit the nation. I don't think you have an armed militia in the nation's capital.
Well, I can understand sort of the hesitation from a local official about National Guard troops. But if you think about those statistics that Lucas Tomlinson just revealed, if it's successful, there's not going to be a lot of argument.
No. Good morning to you, Dana, and to you as well, Bill. The starting quarterback would never argue that he should be benched in favor of the backup quarterback. The analogy in this case being it is the primary job of local police to handle crime. When you fail, you bring in the backup, which in this case is the National Guard. And it's working. This backup quarterback has basically a perfect completion percentage and is marching the team to the end zone. Stats on crime are good. You just heard of Lucas. We talked about him on the Will Cain show. I think carjacking is down 83%. Wow. So Muriel Bowser can say this, and by the way, Washington, D.C. is different than Chicago or L.A., and the federal government's relationship with D.C. is different than it is with other cities. So in this case, the National Guard has stepped up, and it looks like right now it's working, which people will like for their quality of life.
Will, I'm sure it's going to shock you to hear this, but the national media, not big fans of this D.C. surge with the feds and not fans of the visit by VP Vance and Stephen Miller and Pete Hegseth to Union Station yesterday. Take a listen. We'll get your thoughts on the other side.
For them to talk about that these policies or bringing the National Guard is to actually make it safer for black communities is actually insulting.
J.D. Vance took his campaign for the Republican presidential nomination to Union Station today to bring Shake Shack burgers to the National Guard troops who are foolishly now deployed to Union Station to do absolutely nothing.
They did not go to Union Station yesterday for fun. They did not go there to talk to the National Guard. They knew there were protesters there. They knew they went there to be on TV and to get these moments and get everyone talking.
Pretty tough crowd to please there, Will.
You know, Bill, I think that every day the positions taken by and the behavior displayed by Democrats in the media is an absolute gift to Republicans. We already know that on most issues at this point, they're choosing the 15% option where the majority of Americans, 85%, might be on the other side of the issue. But in their behavior, the way those protesters acted at Union Square, they're actually becoming a gift to J.D. Vance, to Pete Hegseth, to Donald Trump. They're an absolute gift. And if that media doesn't know this, they are the on-screen paid version of those people in Union Square screaming at J.D. Vance. So my point is, you're not only unrepresentative at this point of most of America, but you're a gift to the people that disagree with you. You're a joke.
The vice president was also asked by Laura about the Democrats and what the challenges and also about the midterms, and here's how he's thinking about it.
Sounding like crazy people. That really is all it is. You've got to be yourself. You've actually got to talk to people honestly about the issues. I don't think it's that complicated. Don't be a crazy person. Be authentic.
Is this a moment where we could see the midterm curse reversed and the Republican Party gain some ground?
I think we have a good chance, but take nothing for granted. Keep on achieving victories for the American people and keep on trying to win. That's our path to being able to continue to govern this country.
This week has been a study in contrast between what the Republicans were trying to do, and you saw that in terms of going to Union Station. Call it a photo op if you want, but they're showing what's happening. Meanwhile, you do have the strangeness going on with the Democrats this week.
You know, Dana, you know this better than I, but the midterm curse, as referenced by Laura in that clip with the vice president, is that the party in power almost always loses the House in a midterm election that has all the ingredients that we have in government today. But we have a couple of things in play. First of all, obviously, you have what's happening in Texas with redistricting, with the potential to give 5 new Republican seats. On top of that, we did these numbers yesterday, Dana, and you probably have seen them and talked about them as well, but voter registration is completely down for Democrats. Men, people under 45, just like an enthusiasm, unwillingness to be signed up, register to vote as a Democrat, is down something like 20%, 30%. It's vastly down. So there's some signs that point here to Republicans being able to retain the House, which would give Donald Trump 2 more years of, we'll call it, not just ability to govern, but avoidance of chaos. Because should the Democrats win the House, you're going to talk about, I don't know, impeachment and chaos and obstruction.
They've got a shot.
And Will, real quick, want to get your thoughts on the Pete and Bobby challenge. You just took part in it. If we can pull up this full screen right here. You beat everybody, all right? So if people don't know, the Pete and Bobby challenge is 100 push-ups and 50 pull-ups within 10 minutes. You did it in 5 minutes and 12 seconds, beating your good friend, Secretary Pete Hegseth, by 13 seconds. Will, you wanna brag for a second here?
No, I'm not going to dunk. I have a couple of points. Just give me a little runway. I challenged Dana, your co-host on The 5, Jesse Waters. I need to see the video. I know he said he did it, but I need to see the video. I would not challenge Bill Maloogian. I'm nervous. I think that guy's going to beat me, so I'm not going to do that. But isn't it a little rich today? You see Democrats like Congressman Jason Crow criticizing the Secretary of Defense pull-up form. On pull-up number 45, 46, and 47, I'd like to see Congressman Crow not do 10 perfect ones, but bang out 50. Then we'll talk. All the Democrats like Adam Kinzinger seem today to be the guy at the gym who watches someone do something hard and jumps in at the end and goes, no, here's how you do it. Everybody in America should do this. Get fit.
You should see, we're going to have a plank challenge. I'm kidding.
Are we? I was about to say.
I mean, we could.
Dana, I would no more take you on a plank challenge than I would in a shotgunning a beer contest, Dana.
That's exactly right. You know exactly where my strengths lie. Thanks, Will Cain. Good to see you.
Thanks, Will.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.